Hi, welcome back to my channel. Today I'll be doing a reading vlog slash reading journal slash reading of Norwegian Wood by Murakami. I haven't read any single of Murakami's books, unfortunately, but I ordered like a set of 8 books and it had this, so I'm gonna start off with this because this has been highly recommended by my fellow reader friend and I'm very excited to read it. Also, I just finished reading XOXO by XO on my Kindle, and before that I read Pachinko, so I need to get a break of something different because Pachinko was a lot to handle. I'm gonna do a review about it soon, but Pachinko was like, oh my god, you died? That's not a surprise to me. It was kind of like that. So yeah, a lot of deaths in 500 pages. It's like a real thick book. Wait, let me get this. This is Pachinko and the cover is so lovely, and it is about 531 pages. It took me like 3 to 4 days to read it, so I am hoping to make my reading speed more fast for this book, because then I have to read the book that will absolutely break me, but it's fine. This book I've heard bad things about from so many people, and not bad in like a criticism way. This is just a really sad book and a little life is just full of sadness. Well, you have to be emotionally stable to read this. I'm gonna read this after I finish Norwegian Woods, and then I'm gonna read Kafka on the Shore because it is also highly recommended. I don't really know if I will recover from this because of what I've heard. It will break you. Well, that's not new. Books always break me. Just something about them. I will be giving brief intros to chapters and not give spoilers in between. So after every 2 chapters, I will be doing a quick feedback session about this book. But I think I will really like it. I love the color scheme, and I think Murakami's books are just like this, so it's very aesthetic. It does look good on my bookshelf. So yeah, now I will start reading it and turn on the fan because it's very, very hot. Oh no! I forgot about this. I am so sorry. This is going really bad. Okay, let's just start and forget about this baby here. On page 1, and we already have a great line to recognize. Hi, just gonna read this line, the last line of chapter 2. In the midst of life, everything revolves around death. These are simple words, but wow. This writing, I think I got more involved with I got more involved with the characters in chapter 2. I think chapter 1 was a little more sophisticated. Chapter 2 was more free. I mean, I came to know much more about the characters and what exactly led them to this point. Chapter 1 was like really, really fast. You had to read it really fast because it was just the main characters' emotions and thoughts. But chapter 2, I think it's where the story actually begins. This is a quote from chapter 2's beginning. I did not know why the flag had to be taken down at night. The nation continued to exist while it was dark, and plenty of people worked all night. It seemed unfair to me that such people were denied the protection of the flag. Or maybe it did not matter all that much and nobody really cared, aside from me. This is just such a great statement, and it acts like a metaphor in so many ways, and I am in love with the writing. I mean, I've already said this before. I think this book is going to hurt me. And I see where this is going. I see it. So until we meet again, now I'm gonna read chapter 3 and 4. Also, I got new specs. Okay, on to chapter 3, 4, and 5 and 6 because I read them all together in one go. So, chapter 3 is more about the feelings of the narrator, and there is just this beautiful imagery that makes me want to read. Although I do realize that in chapter 4 I was kind of bored. I don't want to say bored because I definitely don't want to know what happened next, but the story is very long. At the end of chapter 3 there's this really beautiful line, so I kind of want you to know why I stayed and why I'm still reading this book. Long after the firefly had disappeared, the trail of its light remained inside me, its pale, faint glow hovering on and on in the thick darkness behind my eyelids like a lost soul. My fingers touched nothing. The faint glow remained just beyond my grasp. Murakami is describing a firefly. Chapter 4, 5, even 6 and 7, it's just introduction about the 3 other characters, and even though they were introduced before, another one. So 2 were introduced before, we just get to know a bit more about what they are and what they feel, and this one really pisses me off. Nobody likes being alone. I just hate to be disappointed. You can use that line if you ever write your autobiography. Life doesn't require ideals. It requires standards of action. Now I know many people would disagree on me, but this is just a really great line. Like, it actually shows what Nagasawa has put his life into the box. I feel the narrator has a really weird sense of women. Every woman, I swear, each woman that has been introduced in this book, up to like 4 women now, their size of breast is mentioned. Like literally every character description has the size. Each of the women talks about having it, if you know what I mean. And this is just so weird. I know this is his style of writing and that's just like the way it is, but it feels so wrong. And when I'm reading this, I was like, yeah, finally a woman character, and immediately I'm just, this is really sad. This is just sad that, you know, when you realize that an author describes characters as they are and portrays what they feel like, you immediately go like, this is what they think of people in real life. This is how they see different people. Even in fantasy, there is some like detail connecting the real life people and the fictional people. Even when I'm writing, most of my poems or like stories, I guess, they are inspired from the real incidents in my life, and I write what I feel it is right to write. And a lot of the things I take inspiration from my own life experiences, and I'm saying that like I'm some big author, but yeah, that's just how many writers do. They write from their experiences. Murakami, I genuinely want to read your autobiography. I do not know who hurt him. I think someone must have hurt him really bad. I don't know. And you know, the men in this book, they're all a bunch of idiots. They're a bunch of idiots, even the narrator himself. He's an idiot. I do not know about Murakami. I haven't read more of his book. Every man in this book is an idiot, and I'm saying this not just because I hate the way he portrayed women. I'm saying this because the men are idiots in this book. They sleep with any girl they like, and then there are comments that I cannot say on camera because it will be so bad. I realized this starting from the 5th chapter, which has a great mention of that. And there's beauty in the way that Murakami leaves his paragraphs. He just sometimes ends with a really powerful sentence, or he uses dialogue as a way to convey that powerful sentence. Going on to number 5 and 6. Number 5 was, of course, something a bit more. So the second main character mentioned, Naoko, she moves away, and this is a bit more about Toro discovering himself, or we get to know at least a bit more, because the first few chapters were just all about him and his relationship with Naoko. As long as we're here, we can get by without hurting others or being hurt by them, because we know that we are deformed. That's what distinguishes us from the outside world. Most people go about their lives unconscious of their deformities, while in the little world of ours, the deformities themselves are precondition. Just as Indians wear feathers on their heads to show what tribe they belong to, we wear our deformities in the open, and we live quietly so as to not hurt one another. My favorite character till now is Stormtrooper, who hasn't actually made his appearance in the recent chapters, but I think he's gonna come back. Stormtrooper is my kind of guy. He is very what people would call strange, but I think Murakami built his reputation really bad, even though he's not quite that strange. He belongs to a really underprivileged family, and he goes on how he wants to be a map maker, a map locator, I guess. He just wants to design maps, and then he disappears in the middle of the book, and he still hasn't made his appearance. I am reading because of him. I want to know what happened to him. This is what I feel about the remaining chapters, which are from 7 to 11. Throughout these chapters, I thought that the story was developing very quickly, but in a subtle way, as to not give the readers like, oh, what just happened. I did not expect the ending. It is very difficult to say, oh, why that happened, what happened. I should have expected it. I mean, what the main character was experiencing. Some people probably have seen it coming. There was a sentence in between the chapters saying, why did such a beautiful body had to be ill? And I was like, is that really what you think of women? Is that really just what you think of women? Again, the writing style might be different back in the 1990s. Even if I think about the 1980s or 1990s, because 1987 was when this book was written, Murakami must have experienced something, or he must have seen how women were treated, and that would be, I mean, I don't know, I wasn't alive in the 1980s, but if that's how women were treated, I would rather not be alive in the 80s. This was really bad. This was really a bad presentation. Till the end, sexual relationships were the most important to every man in this book. There were some parts I did not see coming, like how relationships between the two people who started off as friends or just known twos would evolve. That surprised me a bit. Really surprised me a bit. I stayed for the imagery, I stayed for the writing style, and I would still read it again for the writing style, because it's very raw, it's very emotional. You know, whatever the main character is feeling, Murakami writes it down, and there is no turning back from it. Did Norwegian Wood describe the book? Not in the first 70% of the book. The rest 30%, I get it why Norwegian Wood probably would have used. Seeing the circumstances, Naoko ended up between the woods. You might get it when you read the novel, and that is exactly why Norwegian Wood had such a big influence on the book. Even though it's not Norwegian, it's just the woods. Would I recommend this to anybody? Yes, if you're looking for raw, emotional, and beautiful writing and do not care about the elements of the book, and you do not get angry at the characters easily, this is the book for you. I would warn you about the frequent mention of sexual assault, mental health, and the portrayal of women. Some people might not be comfortable with this idea, and I see it why. This is definitely not for everyone. I would not recommend this to any person I go to. In the beginning, there were some characters which I thought I might see again, but I did not, which is strange. I give this book a 4-star rating out of 5. I love the writing. I stayed for the writing. Go ahead, read this book. That's all I want to say. In the end, it all depends on you and your taste. Maybe you'll like it, maybe you'll not like it. It is fine. The conversations did not feel real at times. It did not have a touch of realism in it. There were too many philosophical questions. They were just talking like what two philosophy teachers would talk about. The book characters were very diverse. That was it for the video. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, and comment what you want to see in the future. Blah 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 blah. I'll meet you in the next video. Bye bye. Take care.